Hi everyone, it's Lauren from Love Renovate. I hope you're having a super week so far. Thank you to those of you who have been watching our videos. I hope you found them useful. If you do, then please do hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified of any others that we do. So last week on Instagram, we asked a question if you were delaying your renovation due to the increase in cost of living. And 42% of people came back and said yes, they're putting their plans on hold because of the increase in cost of living. So today I just want to share with you some ideas that you can carry on with the planning of your renovation without actually doing the construction, so you feel as if you're still progressing. And then for the 58% people who are still going ahead with it, just a few tips from me around if the prices do rise further, if there are delays in products, just ways that you can manage this. So in terms of if you're delaying your project, it's very sensible if you were nervous about the general increase, if there's going to be further rise in fuel, and if you see further increase in things like glass, cement, timber, etc., steel. But if you are delaying it, there are certain things that you can do up front. So for example, it's a really good time to actually still engage with an architect. So find a few architects you like the look of their work, and speak to them. Find ones that you have a good rapport with that understand your vision, and they've worked on like similar projects to you in your area. And it's a good time that you can actually get them to do the designs, say for your extension. You've got a lot of time, so you've got a lot of time to kind of look at their plans, chat to them, maybe change the design slightly, have a think about whether this would work for you in your home, but really use that time without feeling rushed because you kind of want to go on with construction kind of in 6 months' time. Just use the time now when you're not planning and doing any of the work to think through your designs and get something drawn up by an architect, and then you have those drawings. The other good thing about that is it means when you're actually ready to do the build, you've already paid for the architect's fees up front, so you don't have, you're not paying for everything in 1 year. You can spread the costs over 2-3 years, so it's actually quite good in terms of budgeting. So the next thing you can also do is planning permission lasts for 3 years from when it's been approved. So if you're confident that you're actually going to start your renovation or extension, whatever, within about 2 to 3 years, then you can still go ahead with the planning application and work with your architect on that. Now that's something, the planning application obviously takes a minimum of 8 weeks. It can take up to about 13, and it can take longer if it's not been approved. So it's a lot of admin that you can just do up front, get it out of the way so that when you're ready, say in a couple of years' time to start the build, then you've done all of that, it's all approved and you're ready to go. So it could be time well spent. But as I said, you've got to be confident that you're going to start it within a 3-year period, or else you'll have to apply for it again. And then the other thing you can do is also spend the time finding good builders. Again, often what we do is we kind of get the architect's plans, we get planning permission done, and then we're like, oh, I've got to find a good builder here, and kind of almost rush that process. But actually spend the time speaking to your neighbours. If your next door neighbour's had an extension done that's similar, what builder do they use? Going around your kind of area that you live in, if you can see people are getting some work done, knock on their door, just ask them who they've used, whether they'd recommend them, that kind of thing. So you could have a list of like 5 builders that have been recommended in your area, so that when you're ready to go and you're ready to actually start the construction, you've got 5 that you can go to tender with. You can also phone and speak to them, just find out what their kind of lead times are, because it could be they've got a lead time of 18 months, for example, and that actually might work quite well for you. So use this time to really get the planning done. The other thing you can do is kind of look at kitchens. Go and see kitchen designers and get them to design your kitchen. You can have your kitchen, everything chosen. You just don't need to order it. So that again, when you're ready to go, you've done all of the you made all the big decisions. So those are things that you'll still move ahead with your renovation without committing to large construction costs, and you get all the planning out of the way. So for those of you who are carrying on with the renovation, which is wonderful, there still are things that you can do just to make sure that it kind of runs smoothly should there be any more kind of price rises or delays. So one of them we kind of recommend is just being flexible with the build. So it could be, for example, you're wanting a certain type of man-made tile on your roof, but that might take a lot longer or it might be out of stock. So again, work with your builder, be flexible. What alternatives are there? So kind of don't get your heart set on one thing. It might be your builder recommends another product that is quicker. So really try and be flexible on the products you use, because it could be things take a lot longer to arrive or are out of stock. So are there different solutions or different products that you can use. Same goes to like the actual design. So say once you've got your design and then you get the builders come back and they're kind of quoting way more than you think, work with the builder. How can you reduce the cost? Are the things you don't need in your build? Could it be your roof can have simple Velux windows rather than a glass roof? Could you change it to a flat roof? Things that are slightly more cheaper. It might be, for example, you want render on the outside, but again, that's pushing you way over your cost. So just you could have it just finished in brick and then render in a couple of years down the line. So just be kind of flexible, have different ideas and different solutions, and maybe change your design if things are coming in a bit more than you'd hoped for, if the prices are rising further. The other thing we do recommend is, can you find products that are sourced locally in the UK? So obviously with fuel costs rising, the actual cost of transporting goods from outside of the UK could rise even further. So look at all the products you're using for your renovation and think of what can you actually source in the UK, be it glazing, kitchens, bathrooms, things like that. Try and get them as local as possible, and they'll probably arrive quicker and you'll have more chance of getting them. It's also more sustainable, so you're going to cut down on fuel as well, so it's kind of a win for everybody here. And then the last thing that I do recommend, I always talk about it, but if you're carrying on with your renovation in today's climate, then please do make sure you have a really good contingency. We used to recommend 10 to 15%, now I recommend 15 to 20%. The contingency is there for any kind of unforeseen issues to do with the actual, say if you're extending anything that pops up. But also, if there are further price rises, you want slightly more so that you can actually cover those costs without the costs really blowing your budget, and you kind of run into kind of real stress and issues trying to cover those increased costs. So do make sure you have a really good contingency if you are going ahead with your renovation. I hope you found that useful. Please comment below if you've got any questions, or then just email me, lauren@loverenovate.co.uk.